At the Ferrol Sports Center in Ferrol, Spain, an important game tonight in Division B. First round action continues in the Men's World Basketball Championships from Spain. These are two undefeated teams. The USSR beat Cuba 129-87 last night, and Israel beat Angola 95-75. This should be a good matchup. Russia's big front line with Sabonis, the 7-footer, and the two outstanding forwards, Volkov and Tikhonenko, against the Israel team led by the great veteran Mickey Berkowitz and Howie Lassoff, who played collegiately in the United States at American University. He's had two outstanding games. Mel Proctor, along with Atlanta Hawks head coach Mike Fratello, again bringing you our coverage tonight. What kind of a game can we look for, Mike?
Mel, I think the Israel team is going to play well against them. Obviously, they need a big night out of Levon Mercer and Lassoff to compete against the front line of the Russians. But, they've played them well in the past, and I think going into the game, they're very confident. Both teams are 2-0, so let's see what happens.
The Russians in the red uniforms, Israel in white, and the first attempt by Sabonis. The Russians may have a big edge on the boards with their superior size. This is Kurtinaitis, a great outside shooter, going right to the basket to give the Russians a 2-0 lead. Rimas Kurtinaitis, who scored 20 points last night against Cuba. The Israeli team, number 9, Mickey Berkowitz, the outstanding veteran. Number 12 is Doron Yamke, a fine young player. This is Howie Lassoff throwing up a wild shot, and he is fouled. Lassoff had 25 points in Israel's opening win against Uruguay and 16 last night against Angola.
It looks like they're trying to take the ball right at Sabonis, Mel. Maybe they're hopeful that they'll get him in early foul trouble. And after watching him in the last game, I think it's a good idea. He wasn't real active defensively last night.
Berkowitz with the air ball. Levon Mercer trying to put it in on the follow shot, and he is fouled. He is a very strong player on the boards for the Israeli team, and the foul is on Alexander Volkov, number 4 of Russia.
Russians did a good job of boxing out, but unfortunately, Levon Mercer snuck in around the baseline side and came up with a loose ball.
Levon Mercer, who played collegiately at the University of Georgia, known in Israel as Levon Bird Cortis.
Well, he's an outstanding big man, and made a big decision in his career. Decided that going the European route was best for him rather than try and hang around maybe a second or third year and try and make it in the NBA, and he's done extremely well here.
Mercer makes 1 out of 2, and it's knocked out of bounds. The Russians will have possession. Number 10 is Valdis Walters, a 28-year-old guard. They have a big backcourt. Walters and Kurtinaitis, both about 6'6", 6'7".
One of the keys we felt all along is the pressure that the defense could put on the Russian guards, and they always see the first turnover, a travel forced by good pressure defense.
Number 10, Chaim Lippin, a young playmaking guard for the Israeli team. Mercer working against Sabonis, and a fine steal by Walters. The Russians like to run. And let's see if the basket counts. It does. Fine shot by Walters. And it's 4-1 in favor of the Russians. Berkowitz on the drive. Sabonis tips it right back to Berkowitz, and Sabonis blocks a shot. He can be an intimidating force on defense. Here come the Russians again, and the play is broken up by number 10, Chaim Lippin.
I'm not sure that was a real good decision by Berkowitz to try and challenge Sabonis under the basket like that. Best thing, maybe back it out and look for a better shot.
Walters from way out. Mercer with the rebound for Israel. Can Israel run with a Russian team?
Well, I'm sitting here saying to myself, do they want to get into a track meet with the Russian team after the last performance that we witnessed by the Russians?
Mickey Berkowitz puts it down.
That seems to be the Russian strength. Get out in the open floor. They've scored many points now in the first 2 games, and I'm not so sure Israel doesn't want to slow this thing down.
Foul is on number 4, Alexander Volkov. The basket is good by Mickey Berkowitz, and he'll also have a free throw. He's an outstanding free throw shooter. Played for a couple of years at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And we're tied 4 apiece in the early going from Ferrol, Israel against Russia. 2 undefeated teams. See them picking up Kurtinaitis outside. He's got great range, and Sabonis connects for the Russian team. He scored 12 points in each of the first 2 games for Russia.
We'll see Sabonis flash to the high post or top of the circle area many times tonight. They use him from there as a feeder, watching people cutting back door to the basket, or as a scorer, because he's a great jump shooter from there.
Doran Yamke on the miss. Sabonis with a rebound, doing a tightrope act to stay in bound. Here come the Russians again as they turn it over.
You know, we mentioned this last night, that sometimes the Russians try to get a little too fancy on the fast break, and as a result, get unnecessary turnovers.
Berkowitz is fouled from behind. Valery Tinkonenko was trying to come in from behind and block the shot, but fouled Mickey Berkowitz. Apparently, they say he blocked the shot out of bounds, and there was no foul. Berkowitz off glass. Mercer can't score on the follow. And a nice steal by Berkowitz, but see if he committed a foul. And again, we are not actually at the arena. We're at our control center in Madrid, Spain. We're unable to hear the officials' words and who the foul is on, but it appears the foul is on Berkowitz on the reach-in.
The guards from Israel have been on the glass now and have picked up 3 offensive rebounds. They know they have a big size disadvantage and try to help out their big men.
Kurtinitis on the miss, and Volkov is tied up by Levon Mercer, so we'll have a jump ball. Again, the 30-second shot clock is in effect. The 3-point field goal is very much a part of international competition. Kurtinitis, the best 3-point shooter for the Russian team. Volkov tips it to Howie Lasseff.
Looks to me like he stole that tip, Mel, on the way up.
That's apparently the call, and as you see, following a violation, they immediately take the ball out of bounds. The officials don't have to touch the basketball, which is why Lasseff just grabbed the ball and stepped out of bounds and inbounded. Sabonis with another rejection. Kurtinitis finishes off the fast break.
Very typical of the Russian fast break. Long outlet pass, and over here they run people out, Mel. What I mean by that is when a shot goes up, they release and send the guy long. If they happen to get the rebound, they're there for the home run pass.
Tough shot, and it counts. Got a foul on the play. Alexander Volkov committing another foul.
On the replay, we see him getting beat along the baseline. There's a defensive rotation, but we get a personal foul.
And at the free throw line is number 12, Doran Yamke, a 24-year-old guard, the heir apparent to Mickey Berkowitz in the Israeli team. The Russians lead 8-7. First half action, third game of the tournament for each team.
Once again, we see when the pressure defense picks up the ball, the Russians have problems with that.
Sabonis on the miss, but he got fouled by Howie Lasseff. Lasseff, a 6'11", 240-pounder.
We see Sabonis run a little back door here. Tonight, Sabonis seems more active, Mel. He's more involved in the game than he was last night.
Just thinking the same thing. He seemed to kind of go through the motions in the first 2 games, playing about as hard as he had to, but tonight he realizes they're facing a tough opponent in Israel, and he seems mentally ready for this game.
He had designated himself as the passer last night, the feeder, and was going to take a shot only as a last resort. Tonight, he's come out early and tried to assert himself.
Arvydas Sabonis, a first-round draft pick of the Portland Trail Blazers. He was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks on the 4th round last year. Russia leading 10-7. Mercer with the air ball, and here come the Russians on the break again. Sabonis really runs for a man 7'2". Kurtinitis trying to tip it in, and Lasseff clears it out to Mickey Berkowitz. Berkowitz thought he got fouled. Here comes Kurtinitis leading a 3-on-2 break. Kurtinitis on the tip, but it won't drop.
You notice that the Israel team, they're fighting for their lives on the glass. The Russians just keep playing volleyball with it off the glass, Mel, and they're going to have to get all their people back to help out on the boards.
Russia leads Israel 10-7 in the first half from Ferrol, the Ferrol Sports Center, which holds 6,800.
Because of the 3 block shots already, they've intimidated the Israeli team.
And there's our score with 15:31 remaining in the first half. The Russians leading by 3. Proctor with Mike Fratello, the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks, bring you tonight's matchup as Arvydas Sabonis scores on a sweeping hook shot for the Russians. He is off to a great start tonight, and the Russians lead 12-7.
Well, we can see the game plan, Mel. They're going inside the Sabonis, and they're going to make the Israeli team have to stop him before they back it off.
The Israeli team simply doesn't have the size to match up well with the 3 7-footers on the Russian team. Mercer over Sabonis, and goaltending is called.
I like that by Levon Mercer. He has to take the ball at Sabonis, make Sabonis move his feet defensively, force him to react.
Russia leading by 3. Valdis Walters into Kurtinitis, guarded by Berkowitz. Kurtinitis having difficulty getting off his outside shot tonight. He finally shakes free, and he was fouled by Berkowitz.
That's a bad foul, Mel. Whenever a jump shooter goes up, you don't want to give him unnecessary free throws. You go up, you challenge the shot, but you want to avoid body contact. Here it's a late foul after the man's released the ball. We're putting him on the line, or taking the ball out, rather, for no necessary reason.
Walters on the drive, and he is fouled. The Israeli team piling up the fouls, and when you reach 8 team fouls, then a team enters the penalty situation. Foul is on Hein Lippen of Israel. The Russians scoring another basket to go up 14-9. Israel with a very young backcourt. Hein Lippen and Adi Gordon, 2 youngsters, alternate as the point guard. Walters on the pull-up. A 3-pointer for Valdis Walters.
Different mentality over here as you come down on the fast break. We look for layups. They look for 3-point shots many times.
And it's 17-9 in favor of the USSR.
See what happens, Mel, if you don't go at Sabonis. He just controls the whole lane. Stands there, backs off his man, blocks shots, or grabs rebounds to start their fast break.
Basket is scored by Doran Yamke, although it appeared that Sabonis actually tipped it in, and it's 17-11 in favor of the Russians. They won this tournament in 1982 in Cali, Columbia, defeating the American team. Sabonis on the scoop.
He's so agile for a man, 7'2". He's denied at the high post, reverses, and gets a backdoor layup.
Yamke with a baseline jumper over Sabonis, and there is a foul. Number 9, Valery Tinkonenko of USSR. Tinkonenko, a 7th-round draft pick of the Atlanta Hawks.
Let's watch this. To get this shot up and over both of these players, that's a tough shot right there going to the baseline.
Doran Yamke at the free throw line. 25 years old, 6 feet 5 inches tall. The USSR with a 6-point lead, 19-13. First half action from Farol in the 10th World's Championship. 24 countries competing this year, the largest field ever. Tinkonenko with a nice fake and a baseline pull-up. Pretty move.
Well, that's a good move right there. That's a big-time move, Mel. We saw that time they used Sabonis as the feeder. He watched him come off the double screen and skip the ball across the floor.
The Russians open up a 9-point lead. Lasov pressured, throws up a wild shot. And at the other end, Tinkonenko scores for the Russians.
That's what we're talking about, Mel. The long pass, people running out to get the easy score at the other end. They have to cover the backcourt a little bit better. The Israeli guards are forgetting about the people running out.
The USSR with an 11-point lead. Mercer guarded by Sabonis. Yamke's jumper is short. Tinkonenko on the breakaway for the stop.
Once again, the jump shooter never covered the backcourt, Mel, and they had an imbalance in their offensive set. No floor balance, as we call it.
And the Russians are beginning to pull away. An impressive first-half performance so far by the USSR as they have doubled the score on Israel, 26-13. The Russians have clearly been the class of the World Basketball Championship so far, winning their first 2 games by 38 and 42 points and leading 112-75 against the Israeli team with a minute left in the game. And Mike Fratello, does there appear to be any team in this tournament that can challenge the powerful Russian entry?
Well, whether it be Spain, the United States, Italy, Canada, Yugoslavia, whoever it is, if they're going to challenge this team, they better have a complete repertoire to go against the Russians. This is a complete, deep team. They have scorers, rebounders, shot blockers. They run the fast break well. Tonight they came and shifted gears and showed us their best play.
Sergei Tarakanov scoring for the Russians. All of the starters are on the bench now. The stars, Alexander Volkov and Arvydas Sabonis and Valery Tinkonenko, the big guns for the Russians, getting a rest, getting ready for the next game. And you're looking at the biggest of the 3 7-footers, Vladimir Tkachenko, at 7'3" and 300 pounds.
The Israeli team had no big people inside to compete with Sabonis this evening. From the beginning, Sabonis was going to dominate the game. Levon Mercer, Howie Lassoff had no chance against him. He has too much size, too much strength, completely dominated the paint area.
Ari Rosenberg, one of the young Israeli players at the line. This looks like a club that will be pretty good in time with young players like Rosenberg and Ari Gordon and some of the others, Hein Lippen, another fine point guard at the age of 20. Their future clearly ahead of them, but it has been all Russia tonight.
They need big people. They have good young guards, small people. Now they have to get some size up front to compete against other teams like the Russians.
The Russians have already won 3 world championships, trying to make it 4. They captured the title in 1982 at Cali, Columbia, beating the Americans in the championship game, and they are clearly an outstanding team again. Their head coach, Vladimir Obukov, has to be pleased with the way his team has performed in all 3 games so far. And so that does it, as the Russians have defeated Israel by a score of 114-77